huge unmet need in women's reproductive health. So there's a lot of attention on breast cancer, and that's fantastic, but when you go below the waist and look at gynecology problems, there's really nowhere near the level of federal funding, certainly not for disease states, unless you consider pregnancy a disease state, but things like endometriosis, fibroids, adenomyosis, a collection of diseases that affect a woman's uterus and really impact her ability to go to work and do her job and interact with other people, debilitating diseases. There's tremendous opportunity for this systems biology approach, but also we are now bringing in the tissue engineering side to start building these models. And in fact, we have this so-called human body on a chip program that I direct. We're bringing the whole reproductive sciences into that whole program so that people can think about the power of this to address these tremendous unmet needs. And I think MIT is an incredibly special place for this because we have fantastic interactions with industry, and we're grateful. We've had many fabulous industry advisors on our project tell us the kinds of things that they need to see before they could ever develop a new drug for endometriosis. So we've worked very closely with wonderful advisors in industry who are right now cheering us on, because these are very hard problems. Until you have models of efficacy and can unravel some new direction, it's very hard for companies to make a commitment to this disease. So the Center for Gynopathology Research was started really to bring these communities together, the surgeons who are seeing the disease, the industry who really needs new approaches, and then with all the fabulous things that MIT has, all the way from the biology, but also the devices and the tissue engineering and so on, all in one place so that we can build a critical mass. And one of the unexpected things that came out of this as well, and again, you're MIT, you never know what's going to happen, as we were getting the data from the patients, we realized we needed a much better way to interface and get information from patients, to get information from the surgeons. So it turns out I had a very close teaching relationship with Professor John Guttag in EECS. He's the former department head, and he runs a research group on data-driven medical inferences. And it turns out he you know, as many of my colleagues at MIT do, he knows women who have terrible problems with endometriosis, and he has a very big heart, and he, for free, said he would help us build a software program that would let us get information from patients. So again, we're very grateful to one of our alumni donors, John and Corinne Begg, who gave us some money to support some students to get this project started together with Professor Guttag. We pulled in Professor Kashuk, who's really an expert in so many of the kinds of software techniques we need to use for this project. And so now we actually have a beta software that's going into the clinic. We're going to be describing a lot of the research at our Center for Gynopathology Research at the World Congress on Endometriosis in Brazil in April. We have several abstracts that are accepted, and there's already been correspondence with me from other people who want to collaborate with us, because people do see the marriage of these things you could probably only do at MIT, the software, the systems biology, the tissue engineering, clinical, all the way down to the hardcore biology. That's what the Center for Gynopathology Research was founded to do, and it very much dovetails with this program for the human body on a chip, because we know these gynopathologies, things like endometriosis, fibroids, are interacting systemically with the liver, with the gut. And in fact, there's a lot of evidence that maybe the gut microbiome is influencing invasive forms of the disease. So these things really come together in a beautiful way. The Center for Gynopathology Research and these other programs having to do with tissue engineered models of the human condition and how we get information out of these models and actually use it to bridge what we see in patients back to the models and back and forth.